Hi, it's Helen. This one is going to be a gentle Pilates workout to really focus on gently getting abdominals working and having a bit of a stretch and a wiggle through your middle. So enjoy. Listen to your body though, and if anything doesn't feel right for you, then just skip that one out or reduce the range of movement that you're moving through. You're going to need a mat if you have one, but it doesn't matter if not. You might want a pillow for your heads to make some of the positions more comfortable, so you might want to grab one of those. Okay, let's get going. So standing on your mat or at your space, feet together, let your toes come out, let your heels come out. So you should find that your feet are now hip width apart. Just gently rock your weight forward and back. Thinking about lengthening up through the spine, opening through the collarbones, and just nestle the shoulders down and away from the ears. So this isn't a ram down, this is just letting them hang heavy, creating that gap between shoulder and ear. So bring your feet to a standstill, so you've got pressure between big toe, little toe and heel. And then softening the knees, we'll start thinking about some pelvic tilts to get some movement through the lower part of your pelvis. So hands on hips is useful here, and you can imagine a connection between the hip bones at the front and your rib cage here. So you can think hips coming up to ribs, and I'm just going to turn so you can hopefully see, to lengthen tailbone down, or rolling the hips forward to stick tailbone out. So you might want to think hips to ribs to lengthen tailbone, roll the hips forward to stick tailbone out, or you might like hands front and back, tucking under, rolling forward. You might want to pop hands onto rib cage to try and keep them nice and chill and create the movement from your pelvis. So see what works. The softer your knees, the easier it is to get a bit of movement going in the pelvis. So this rib to hip connection is really thinking about creating a neutral. So you've got a gentle bit of awareness through your middle. Press the floor away. We still need to be able to breathe into the belly. We're not bracing in, we're not locking everything down. So you want to think about a gentle lengthening of tailbone down, but so as you take a breath in, you can still let the belly move, and as you breathe out, it nestles back down. So that is what I mean by creating your neutral or having awareness about your middle section. So now you've got that, we're gonna move and challenge it. So press the legs away so they're strong, but you still think about lengthening that tailbone down or gently drawing, hooking hips up to ribs gently. Opening through the shoulders, palms come high, we're going to open out here. So think about openness through the front of the chest rather than squeezing the shoulder blades. So you're just gently taking hands out and in, and again. We're going to open to Cleopatra, so hands come out and lengthen, turn palms down. Folding palms up, come back in, and again. Create length, keep that lovely gap between shoulder and ears that you've created, and lengthen. Fold, one more here. Lengthen, and fold. We're going to reach one hand up high, the other low, soften the knees, and think about reaching, creating space between your hands. You're going to circle that hand round, so it hangs just behind your knees, and then ripple up through the spine, roll it up. Other side, reach, create that gap, that length, roll it round to the knees, and stacking back up. One more each side. You might feel that you can roll further, more into range, so you can come lower, so just see. So you roll that hand, so you might sweep the hand down towards the feet or the shins. Stopping in the middle, roll it back up. Press that floor away to initiate. One last time, so create that lean, that long line. Roll down into center. Release that head and stack it up. Into standing abdominal work, you're going to float one leg. So you're going to think about pushing the floor away, grow up tall, and sneak that knee high. Feel free to hold on to something here for a little support. If you think you've got your knee as high as you can, try and sneak it an extra inch, so you should feel the bottom kick in on this side and the lower abdominals kick in, and relax down. Other side, so think about lengthening tailbones. We've got that connection through the centre. Press the floor, so go up tall, take the knee to where you can, sneak an extra inch, feel that bottom kick in, feel the abdominals, and relax. One more each side, so lengthen tailbone to get that neutral. Press the floor, sneak the knee an extra inch, and relax. Other side. Press, extra inch, sneak it, and lower. Taking one leg in front of the other. Feet hip width apart, hips to the front. Still thinking about that rib to hip connection, so lengthen tailbone or gently hooking up hips to ribs, and then softening through the knees. So with this one, we're going to challenge balance. So we're reaching arms forward, and we're going to open arm out to the side. Have a look where you're going. Circle hand down towards your bottom and come forward. Then we're going to take a reach forward. So you're coming over that front knee and back. We go the other side. So we reach round. Circle the hand down past your bum, come forward. And again, you're creating this reach. So imagine you're putting something on the back of a shelf, reaching forward. So you load into that hand, feel the abdominals kick in, and come back. Press the floor. We go on the other side. So stride it back. Nice and wide feet, so you're balanced. Hips to the front. Lengthen tailbone down and soften through your knees. Sweeping hands forward, palms together. Looking round, one direction. Circle the hand down and round. This time we're going to come low with that lean. So you're putting something down on the floor. So reach within your range and come back. Other side. Opening out. Lower down. And then see where you can reach, whether that is towards the floor or whether you're still quite high. Work within your available range and comfort. And press it back in. We're going to come down to the floor. So starting at one end of the mat, we're going to do a roll down and then soften from here. So think an imaginary wall is behind you. Lengthen tailbone down. Chin to chest. Peel down off that imaginary wall. So really ripple through the spine. Soften the knees as soon as you need to. But try and challenge them to stay straight. As you roll yourself down, release your head. From here, we're going to sit down to the floor. So softening through the knees. If that's not comfortable, come back up to get yourself down. And then we're coming on to your back. So this is where you might want a pillow under your neck for comfort. See what you think. And we're going to lower down to the floor. So before we get to the floor though, I want to challenge the abdominals slightly here as well. So feet well away from bum. Sit up onto those sit bones so you're nice and tall, shoulders, ribs and hips stacked. You're going to hold behind your knees. We're going to roll off our sit bone and create this nice C shape. So you're thinking about tucking under off your sit bone and then create that C shape through your spine. You're going to use your hands to roll your C forward and then stack back up. So you roll off that sit bone. You keep rolling, so you're creating this C. You roll it forward and stack back up. And again, off that sit bone, so you slump through your middle, through your rib cage, and you roll, you come up. Now if that isn't comfortable, work in a smaller range. So you slump off that sit bone, you might be here before you roll it and come up. Slump and roll. So just work with what's comfortable. One more. So create that slump, that C, roll it and come up. We're coming down to the floor. So I'd suggest using hands to get yourself down because otherwise abdominals are working quite hard, but it depends how they're behaving. You could roll off that C, keep walking hands down to come down to the floor. But make sure it's controlled if you take that option. So pillow if you you want. Bending one knee and then the other. So feet are still hip width apart, and now we're really going to work on keeping a neutral position in lower back while we get the arms and legs moving. So we're working the deeper abdominals by challenging them to hold a neutral position. So do a few pelvic tilts here, so pressing lower back into the floor for that posterior tilt, and then rolling hips away to arch the lower back for that anterior tilt. So you tuck it under, press the lower back down, roll it forward to arch, and then find your middle ground. So you've got a gentle bit of awareness rib to hip, but you're not really ramming your back into the floor, and there's definitely no arch or pop off of the ribs. So ribs are soft. So find that connection, and then we're going to challenge it. So suggest having hands on the front of your hips so you can feel what's going on, or span the gap between hips and ribs. Shoulders are nice and relaxed on the floor though. So you're going to lengthen one leg along the mat as far as you can keep this bridge you've connected from rib to hip nice and still. So that might be fully lengthened, and slide back. We go on the other side, slide and lengthen. Or you might find part way along that the back wants to arch and you've lost that control. See if you can tighten it, so bring hip to rib to re-get that connection, pressing them out into the floor, and go again. Or if not, work into that smaller range, so you've got that control. Steady breaths in and out. And one more. And then we're going to add to a scissor position. So that rib to hip focus is nicely set. You're going to pick one leg up and fold it into tabletop position. And then you're going to tap it down. So in this position, the further you tap, the more you're going to challenge this control rib to hip. The closer you tap to your bum, the less the abdominals have to do. So we're going to stick with the same leg and just have a play, tapping down, coming up to a level that you can control, so you don't feel like your back wants to dome, your belly wants to pop, or that it's putting any strain onto any scars. And keep breathing. If you can focus on something out, the best way is to breathe out as you tap down or lengthen, and breath in to return. But just make sure you're not breath holding. You're probably starting to feel your hip flexor in, top of your thigh working hard now as well. Make that your last one, and we pop that leg back down. We go again on the other side, so set, you've got that neutral, so that rib to hip connection, float the other side up, and then see what you're like on this side. Start tapping in closer, and then take it further away. So breathe out, breath in. Breathe it out, breath in. And again, breath out, breath in. Few more here. Last two. Or listen to your body and stop whenever it's telling you it's had enough. And breathe it in. Popping that leg back down, we're going to work on a bridge. So feet are as close to your bottom as is comfortable for your knees. Still hip width apart, hands cut back down to the floor. If you've got a big cushion here, then I'd suggest moving it away. If it's a little one, you're probably okay still. So hands down to the floor. So we're thinking about hips coming to ribs to press the lower back into the floor. Press through your heels now and ripple up through your spine. The more you press through the heels, the more we're working into the bottom of backs of legs, and then roll it back down. And go again. So it might be a small tuck under and barely lifting and rolling back away, or you might be able to press the lower back in, roll it up and press and come to full position. So this is where Your knees are higher than your hips, than your ribs, so make sure you're not pressing up with your ribs. The ribs stay nice and soft. You're pressing through your heels to lift your bottom. You can take a breath in and out there, wherever your top range is, and then roll it back down to the floor. And we'll go one more. So hips to ribs to press the lower back into the floor, press through your heels, ripple up through the spine, still breathing, gently encourage the knees in so inner thighs are working, and then roll it down. Drawing one knee in towards your chest, and then your other, and a little roll or a rock. So one final thing now, we're going to challenge the abdominals from using the arms. So we're going to pop one leg down on the floor and then the other. So a few pelvic tilts to find that neutral again, where you've got that gentle awareness, but make sure you can still let the belly move. So with your hands, you're going to float them up to the ceiling. We're going to do toy soldier here. So you're going to take one hand high and one low, and I'm hitting my sofa. You just wriggle down. So re-get that neutral. If you found you've also hit a piece of furniture, float the hands to the ceiling. And we're going to take one hand high and one low. And then switch. So keep breathing. If you feel nothing through your abdominals doing this, then they're obviously coping well enough with the demand. So you can come and pause, float one leg to your tabletop position, and then go again. So you're floating one high, one low. So keep breathing. Your focus is that nothing shifts through the middle. And then if you're working with one leg up, swap over legs. Switching your arms, high, low. Steady breaths. So your focus is here that your ribs are not popping off the floor. The lower back doesn't want to arch as you take the hand high. If this is still feeling nice and easy, you can try double tabletop. So rib to hip connection as you pick that second leg up. Legs come squeezed together. So now you might feel quite a lot happening on abdominals. So this is too much, lower heels towards bottom, but still keep them off the floor. If it's still too much, take one leg back down and repeat the one leg and then switching after 4 or 5 repetitions. If you're okay though and you feel you've got control of this rib to hip, your ribs aren't popping and your back's not wanting to arch, and you're not feeling excessive strain through the front, then find that level with the heels and we'll go again. So make sure you're breathing. So breathe and switch hands. Even if it's 2 repetitions, but you must be in control of that center section and must be able to breathe. So if it tires, you can lower those feet, or you can sneak one back down. Before switching to the other leg. So take your option. Last one. And then popping these feet down. And then we're going to come sitting, rolling onto our side to sit back up. So rolling onto one side, whichever is best for you. Press through the hand and you're back into a seated position. So that was just to get some standing lower abdominals working, a bit of balance thrown in, because as soon as you get balance going, then you have got your abdominals have to work for you. And then challenging this control, lumbar pelvic control, with lengthening the leg away, lengthening the arm overhead to switch on, re-engage with these lower abdominals. Any questions, then please let me know, and thank you for joining.